Hello again. Last year, about 1,000 people in the United States were shot dead by police officers. Only the deaths of a very small number of those victims excite any particular interest. The reason for this is quite simple, although it's seldom mentioned out loud. Most of us are well aware that the police in America do not rush around the country shooting and arresting people at random. 99 times out of 100, the people whom they are questioning, attempting to detain or trying to arrest are guilty of something. They may just be petty criminals or small-time drug dealers rather than important mafia bosses, but very few of those being questioned by the police who suddenly try to drive off or run away or attack the police officer are completely innocent. This goes without saying, really. Innocent people stopped by the police don't do anything provocative or stupid. They just answer the questions politely, and if they're going to cause any problems about the business, they'll wait until the immediate situation is over before they start writing letters and making official complaints. So, generally speaking, when people are killed by the police in the course of an arrest, there is a natural assumption that those people are probably guilty of something, that they're not just innocent bystanders. Something else to bear in mind is that nearly all those people shot dead by the police are men. It's very rare for a woman to be shot dead. The strange thing is that the only time any of these shootings really turn into riots or disorder uh, with anger in the aftermath, or even much fuss is made, is when they involve a black person or a Hispanic person. Because of that, because when we see protests and riots erupting after someone has been shot by a policeman and it turns out that it was a black or Hispanic person, a lot of people have the mistaken notion that it is mainly black people who are killed by the police in the United States. It's not. Last year, 457 white people were killed in this way and just 241 black people. It's as though, as I remarked earlier, the deaths of the black people, which are regarded as more properly the focus of attention rather than the deaths of white people. A police officer who has made a split-second decision which may turn out to be an incorrect one has his or her actions scrutinised by a lot of people who have never actually faced the sort of danger which is routine for the average American police officer. It's a field day for the armchair critics. The shooting dead of an unarmed black man is almost always viewed as a potential case of lynch law. How very different it is when instead of an unarmed black man, the victim is an unarmed white woman. Then the rules change with dizzying rapidity. Those who are always so quick off the mark to shout about police brutality and so on fall silent. This is especially so if the dead woman had what liberals regard as the wrong political beliefs. 35-year-old Ashli Babbit was a veteran of the American Armed Forces. She served in the Air Force for 14 years and had been posted to Iraq and Afghanistan. When protesters entered the Capitol building in January, she went along. She was a supporter of Trump and felt that he was being ousted unfairly after a very close election. When she started to climb through a broken window in the building, she was shot dead by a police officer. Now, I will be the first to concede that it was very unwise to do what she did that day and that feelings were running high. But it's still the hell of a thing for an unarmed woman to be shot dead in that way. Had she been an unarmed black or Hispanic youth climbing through a window and was shot dead by a policeman, then I suspect that her death would have caused something of a fuss. As it is, nobody seemed to find anything noteworthy about it, and most people have just allowed her death to be forgotten. There's something slightly alarming about the fact that the people who stir up trouble about those who are killed by police officers choose very carefully which deaths they think are worth creating a scandal about and which should be overlooked. It's obvious that as a supporter of President Trump, Ashli Babbit belonged to the wrong side, and so her death should be swept away and forgotten about. There's something cynical about such an approach, where the deaths of some people are valued for their propaganda potential, but others, like Ashli Babbit, are simply ignored.